Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel, and we are here continuing our foray into making the world, at least hopefully, a little bit of a better place. We do that through audio updates on a regular basis. We got over 1,200 of these available for your listening pleasure. We continue to connect and try to make the world a better place through that. And so, types of relationships are things we're talking about today. If you are looking at getting better relationships or better communication or stylistically better communication out of things going forward, we continue to be committed to that. If you're looking for that, we can connect on a deeper level at PO Perception on Twitter and or in the About Me section of this YouTube page. Either one can lead you to a conversation with me or a member of my team, and then we can work together somewhere down the road. So the first thing is toxic relationships. These are relationships where there is a unhealthy level of dependency. Nobody's really winning, but everyone thinks they are, and everyone's trying to get over it. This can be super non-beneficial and unfortunate because many times people stay in a toxic relationship not necessarily because they believe that they are in a healthy level of having a good relationship or even looking to, but because they are struggling to make a better version of themselves or a healthier version of how they continue to move forward in a good way. So the next thing is to kind of look at dependent relationships. These are the situations where one party is depending on the other person, and it can get one-sided. Also, dependent relationships will build, at least to some degree, a level of resentment for the person who is having to always be the responsible party. They will look at the responsibilities that are in front of them and kind of look at things and kind of wonder about whether the relationship is worth having, whether the relationship is mutually beneficial as intended, or whether it's one-sided. And so there are a super lot of challenges as it relates to making a decent or a good, healthy connective. But the problem becomes many times dependent relationships don't go that way because the dependent person doesn't really want to uh, get into a healthy space, and uh, um, you know that's an interesting directive there. So hopefully this becomes usually a really healthy and meaningful fashion. So hopefully, the next thing to look at is interdependent relationships. This is what you're trying to create. Um, Interdependent relationships are relationships where both parties need each other for some things but are capable of stepping away from each other as needed. This can be super valuable, especially for individuals who don't necessarily know how to connect on a deeper level with the overall, I guess you'd say, goodness or intelligence of what they're trying to accomplish. But interdependence can be helpful because most people have things they're good at, most people have strengths and weaknesses, and then if the other person you're interdependent with can cover the weaknesses that you have and you do the same for them, ultimately that leads to a healthier connection. Codependent relationships is where both parties believe they cannot function or do not want to function without each other. This leads to very unhealthy and is a gateway. A codependent relationship is the gateway to a toxic situation because um, when both parties believe they need each other versus want each other in their lives, there ultimately becomes expectations that are often too high placed on the other person, which then leads to an unhealthy and unfortunate and ultimately not good way of being and or way of interacting with each other on a consistent basis. Then the independent relationship is one where one party can be somewhat aloof, so one party is trying to connect, the other party doesn't care as much about the connection, which ultimately leads to challenges as it relates to how people interrelate and how people connect. Independent relationships can be good in the short run, but not so great in the long run because an independent relationship means one party is not put together in a healthy manner, and that then becomes challenging for a number of reasons, including but not limited to the frustration point that exists between two people. So hopefully this is helpful. Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.